Hello, I'm Ségolène Dortoli-Guichard, and today I'd like to explore how STEM-related competencies are essential for ocean conservation. Our oceans are facing unprecedented challenges, from climate change and plastic pollution to biodiversity loss. Therefore, tackling these issues requires much more than science alone. It requires interdisciplinary mix of technical skills, human-centered approaches, and collaboration. By the end of this presentation, I'll introduce you to four inspiring professionals: Vétéa Liao, Clémentine Séguigne, Cécile Berthe, and Élise Rigaud, who embody these competencies in very innovative ways. Why are STEM skills essential for ocean conservation? First, they are necessary to be able to understand a global problem. Oceans face climate change, biodiversity loss, pollution, and fast-changing conditions. However, solutions do not only require science and individual STEM skills, but also collaboration and creativity. Let's focus on individual skills to understand the problem. Now, let's have a look at this overview of necessary individual competencies linked to ocean conservation. Scientific expertise, problem-solving thinking, communication and collaboration, leadership and organization, psychosocial qualities such as humility, openness, and inclusivity. To conserve the ocean, one must grasp the physical, chemical, and biological aspects of marine ecosystems. Currents, salinity, and ocean chemistry shape habitat. Biological cycles like coral spawning or fish migration depend on these factors. Also, a marine biologist must be able to collect, analyze, interpret scientific data to detect changes and anticipate risks. But oceans are not just ecosystems, they are social ecological systems. This means we need to understand human-ocean interactions, how fishing, tourism, coastal development, and even cultural traditions depend on and impact marine environments. It is important to understand feedback loops. For example, how overfishing reduces fish stocks, which in turn affects livelihoods and pressures ecosystems further. It is important to understand the complexity of ocean conservation. The ocean is a complex adaptive system. Conservation requires the ability to see the way elements interconnect. A change in one place, like rising ocean acidity, has ripple effects across food webs, economies, and communities. Thus, scientists and practitioners need systemic thinking, not just solving single problems, but anticipating long-term ripple effects. Now, let's have a look at this overview of necessary team competencies linked to finding solutions for ocean conservation. Let's focus on creative problem solving. Ocean conservation requires thinking across geographical and disciplinary boundaries. Teams must combine critical thinking and creativity to address complex problems, whether restoring coral reefs, reducing plastic waste, and developing new technologies. Importantly, this involves not just solving today's problems, but anticipating the long-term implications of decisions. It is essential to integrate disciplines. Ocean problems are ecological, social, and economic all at once. Teams must integrate disciplines: marine biology, chemistry, economics, anthropology, law, to create holistic solutions. For example, a marine protected area only succeeds if it combines ecological design with community involvement and sustainable financing, such as Rahui in French Polynesia. Balancing ecology, society, and economy is important. Teams need to understand processes, tools, and indicators that translate science into enforceable actions. Now, let's talk about communication and collaboration skills. Conservationists must communicate clearly and with impact. They have to adapt their message to scientists, policymakers, and the general public. With scientists, they share data and methods. With policymakers, they translate science into regulations. With the public, they use stories, visuals, and outreach to inspire action. But communication alone isn't enough. Skills in planning, organizing events, managing teams, and coordinating projects ensure that research turns into action. Finally, other psychosocial skills matter: humility, openness, inclusivity, and the ability to work across cultures and in international contexts are essential in today's globalized conservation field. To conclude, individual competencies give us scientific knowledge, organizational and communication skills to understand and act. Team competencies enable collaboration across disciplines, cultures, and scales. Ocean conservation is only possible by combining science, people, culture to raise awareness and enable creative and enforceable actions. And people like Vidya, Clémentine, Cécile, and Elise remind us that the ocean conservation is not just about science, it's about people, emotions, and shared responsibility. Now, I'd like to transition to the next part of this session: interviews with these four inspiring individuals who will share their experiences and show us these competencies play out in practice. Vidya Liao is a marine biologist from Tahiti. His organization developed a participatory science app to track coral reproduction globally. This combines biological expertise with digital tools, citizen science, and global collaboration. Clémentine Seguigne is a PhD and a citizen science advocate. She creates programs involving Polynesian fishermen and divers in research. By blending local knowledge with scientific methods, she strengthens both conservation outcomes and community ownership. Cécile Berthe is an expert in scientific mediation. She emphasizes connecting STEM knowledge with emotions, customs, and traditions. Her work shows that science alone isn't enough. We need cultural sensitivity and storytelling to move people to act. Elise Rigaud is a PhD artist. She co-created a 3D immersive game that allows people to experience global reefs on a new scale. This is a perfect example of merging STEM, art, and creativity to change perception and engage new audiences. Together, these four innovators show how STEM skills combined with communication, creativity, and collaboration can have a real impact on ocean conservation in French Polynesia and hopefully in the world.